Hey, welcome back to the Rethink Vertical podcast. I'm Kinsley Jordan, your host, the state director for the UAS Cluster Initiative. And in this episode, we had the chance to go up to North Dakota, not only to attend the UAS symposium there, but also to be able to sit down with some of the members of the UAS Angel Network, which are people who are investing into UAS technology, UAS companies, startup companies that are advancing what the advanced air mobility and UAS industry is actually doing, which is super, super cool. Not only that, but in the follow-on episode, which you'll get to be able to see next month, we had the chance to sit down with the Hive, which is an accelerator there. And I'm telling you, there's so much knowledge that is between North Dakota, between Oklahoma, of what's happening in the industry that you really don't want to miss it. But for this episode, don't miss this guy. Boom, right there. Oh, my bad. This way. Boom, right there. Delore Zimmerman, president of the Praxis strategy group, but most importantly, advisor and on the board for the UAS Angel Network. A ton of knowledge, a ton of experience, and we had the chance to sit down with him in this episode right now. So without further ado, what are we doing? Let's get up to North Dakota, but before you do that, make sure you subscribe, follow along, hit the bell notifications. You don't want to miss what's happening on the cutting edge of the UAS Cluster Initiative right here with Rethink Vertical.
Well, we didn't go very far, but I'm telling you, we got a whole nother conversation that we're getting ready to have right here in North Dakota at the Hive with one of my good friends, Delore, that I got to know through the UAS Angel Network. But we're here because there's a lot of funding opportunity, and not only just funding opportunity, but there's a lot that has taken place here in North Dakota, in Grand Forks, to be able to get capital to startup companies and ventures that are going to make a huge impact and have made a huge impact in the UAS ecosystem. But first, Delore, tell us a little bit about yourself and what brought you to this fantastic place here at the Hive in North Dakota.
Delore Zimmerman. I'm the president of Praxis Strategy Group here in Grand Forks. And our involvement in the UAS ecosystem here has been long-standing. We were instrumental in helping start the summits in 2006.
Yeah.
And really, the intent of the summits from the very start has been to bring people here and build a network of both people in the region and outside the region.
Yeah.
And then also to showcase what we've got. And admittedly, in the early years, that was pretty slim. We had the, but important.
Yeah.
We had the UND aerospace program, which did pilot training.
Yeah.
And so, of course, you need pilots for UAS, and that was our number one selling point.
Yeah. It's interesting that is general aviation pilot training is normally kind of like a launching point for people who maybe haven't put their foot into the world of UAS.
Yeah.
What UAS is a great starting point. I've heard several other states kind of similarly do the same, expand out of what was general aviation or just pilot training as a whole, and then take that next step. And now, over the last, I don't know how many years, we'll say 5 years specifically, like it is quickly blending worlds fast, where there is no separation between decisions that are made, investments that are made, the technology in the UAS space, and how that goes directly over to even general aviation. So I say that to my pilot friends, you're not getting away from UAS. It's coming for you, and you got to pay attention to it.
In one way or another, yes, it is. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about not only the funds that take place here, but I think it's really important that small businesses understand what they're getting into when they get into investment, they get into capital, and get into the mindset of being invested into, because oftentimes it's very necessary to scale, to grow. Not very often do people 100% bootstrap themselves, and they're looking for that. I mean, that's tough to do. But why do you see companies come and pitch? Kind of like we had the UAS Angel Investment Network. We had several companies pitching there.
Yep.
But why do you see companies coming to you for that investment? And what should they consider if they are?
Well, obviously they need money to either get some traction
Yeah.
or to scale up.
Yeah.
So we're always looking for we look for people with exciting ideas and high potential.
Yeah.
And so what I find is that a lot of companies are very good at describing what they need,
Mhm.
but they're not very good at describing exactly how they're going to make money.
Ooh,
So that's very
now
important.
that's a clip.
That's no,
Thank that one. That's a good
it's
clip.
true. I've looked at a lot of business plans, and
Yeah.
and that's a pretty critical ingredient
Yeah.
because if you're an investor, investors have different intentions. Sometimes it's more, they want to help things get
Yeah.
going.
Yeah.
Other investors are looking for a high return, and there's a medium in there too. But
Yeah.
you got to be able to appeal to the investor's interests.
Yeah.
And so sometimes the audience is different, and you have to adjust your pitch to appeal to them.
So when would a company, because in this episode specifically, I think there's people who know that maybe they need investment, but they don't necessarily know what that looks like. They're very focused. Companies, a lot of times, startups especially in this space, are so focused on the technology that this whole business development and investment side is like fairly new to them, and if they haven't brought somebody else in. So when somebody thinks about angel investment or those small seed or pre-seed rounds, what does that mean to somebody who doesn't know or have any idea?
Well, what it boils down to is cash flow. And so, the entrepreneur is looking for the money to be able to continue operations. And that's a critical part.
Yeah.
Because oftentimes, they get to a certain point and the well runs dry, and they really do need capital to keep going.
Yeah.
And so it's very important that they're able to communicate to the potential investor how that's going to help them continue, help them grow, and provide some kind of return on investment.
Yeah. So as an investor, when you look at these companies coming in, if it's a pre-seed round, or we say very early on investment, maybe there's an idea, there's not a prototype, there's not yet a proof of saying, hey, this thing will work, but we have a really, really great plan. What are some of the aspects that you look at and the fund looks at to say, okay, I think there's something here? Because people can think they have a great idea, but sometimes that's just our emotional investment talking, and it's not necessarily logic. So, what are some of those things that make you go, yeah, there might be something here? Is there like
I think one thing that's very important is if they've got interest by customers, and there is probably an unsavory comment on that. Will the dogs eat the dog food?
Yeah.
And so, do you actually have people that are interested in buying what you have?
Yeah.
And that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to sell them version 2, 3, or 4.
Yeah.
Will they actually pay for version 1?
Yeah.
With the hopes that it'll progress over time.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's say there's a company, they get that initial investment, they're growing, they're getting interest, maybe they get interest from the government, or they get interest from the Department of Defense or agriculture, kind of in the space of what UAS is, and they see the interest and they have people say, hey, we'd love to buy these things now. And the company says, I'm not ready to sell these. So like, we're not done with the R&D. That kind of goes to that next round of investing to say, hey, we have that interest, but we just don't have the runway or the spend ability to be able to span that gap. Does it change what you're looking for in a company if they've shown and proven that interest, and now they just are trying to get to that maturity?
It's good to have some financial savvy, but really what we look for is, are they active in the marketplace? Do they have partners? Are other people saying, well, you really should check these guys out, they're doing great things, or the young entrepreneurs are doing a great thing? So we look for that sort of thing. And then, of course, since we're in the Grand Forks region in North Dakota, we look for how it fits with what's going on here too.
So how has it changed going back to 2006, initially when the first UAS Summit? Oh, this is the flyer. You can get a shot of that. From the very first UAS Summit, 2006. I was still at the Air Force Academy, not just a wee pup. From 2006, of initially wanting to bring people together to have the summit, to talk about what's happening. How, this is a loaded question, but how have you seen, I guess let's backtrack. In the last 5 years, how have you seen investment considerations into the UAS space change? Or have they?
First of all, let me comment on the subtitle of this first summit, a new era of opportunity takes off in the Red River Valley Research Corridor. So,
Yeah.
frankly, we didn't know what was going to happen.
Really?
We knew that the Air Force.
That's awesome.
We knew that the Air Force Base here in Grand Forks needed a new mission. We knew that the people of Grand Forks had always, very supportive of the Air Force. Always wanted to be helpful in switching missions. This Air Force Base has switched missions many times over 60 years.
Yeah.
So we knew that. We didn't want to lose the Air Force Base. And we knew that UAS was an up-and-coming thing.
Yeah.
And Northrop Grumman participated in the first one. They had the Global Hawk. So, we kind of knew what was going on. We had a few people in the area, particularly in Fargo, that were actually involved in UAS research in some form. So there were some things going on here. And, our company actually worked with another company to develop the first roadmap for UAS development in the region. The city paid for it. The state contributed some funds. So everybody thought the industry held some promise, but we didn't know what that looked like yet.
Yeah.
So it was pretty exciting.
It's so interesting you say that. Now I realize this is back in 2006. Now at the time that we're shooting this is 2024.
Yeah.
That's not been yesterday. There's been a lot of effort and a lot of intentional investment and a lot of intentional focus of how do we grow this. And it's but there's commonalities that I've seen even between Oklahoma of some of those initial investments and intentional focus that they said, hey, we're going to plant the flag on how we, as the capabilities of this state, how we can impact this. And that's one of the things I think really sometimes has to be talked to, because I think people look at it and say, oh, are you, is Oklahoma competing with North Dakota? It's like, no, we're not North Dakota.
Not really.
North Dakota has capabilities that they're able to offer that Oklahoma isn't able to. And vice versa. Oklahoma has capabilities that North Dakota cannot necessarily offer. And that's one of the things that we've heard from a couple of people as we've had the chance to talk to them is like the investment and the helping of the space helps everyone. Like you have to be able to help the people in this ecosystem, because although it's grown a lot, it's still small and still expanding rapidly. So what are some of those, when you think of the funding side and just the collaborative effort between state government, between venture funds, between angel investors, because sometimes I think people see those as different things, but there's an intentional effort of where those pieces blend. Otherwise, we wouldn't be in the O'Leary Ventures room.
That's right.
With the Red River Corridor Fund.
That's right.
As people who are involved in the UAS Angel Investment Network. I mean, those are different things altogether, but they all impact each other.
Yeah, I'd say one thing about the commonalities and the differences between Oklahoma, what you're doing in Oklahoma and what we're doing there. Oil and gas is a common thing, so there's applications common there.
Yeah.
One of our pitches over the years has been cold weather testing. You probably don't have that.
Not like you guys do.
So,
I'm not asking for negative 55 degrees at any point in Oklahoma ever.
Kinsley, there's a certain amount of clarity that comes at 55 below. I'm just going to tell you that.
I believe that.
Yeah. No, so, I think when they developed the UAS test sites in 2013, and we were one of the first ones, they selected them for all the differences that they had and the capabilities that they had that they could move forward with. So I think that was important.
Yeah.
And then here, of course, in 2015, Grand Sky, the Business Development Park, that was an effort of the county and others. That was, and the Air Force, that was really quite another milestone for us. So one of the things we've heard over the years is that, wow, you people all work together.
Yeah.
And, I think that's been a real strength. Our congressional delegation, the governor's office, local development folks have all been marching, maybe not in unison, but all towards a common goal, I think. So it's been very, it's been great.
Yeah. It has been, for the last couple of days of being here, it has been awesome to see not only the collaboration, the UAS Summit was amazing, great speakers, great panels, that wealth of knowledge. One of the coolest things that I think personally that I got to see, not only just the technologies, but the impact, at the time we're watching this, the Ukraine Russia conflict is alive and well, and there were some great representatives here talking about how fast that technology is changing, and what that understanding, that knowledge, and how that comes here. It kind of leads me to my next question: is how have you seen the investment of companies that are coming to you change? Because rewind, and correct me if I'm wrong, if you rewind 10 years ago, initially it was looking for companies who wanted to maybe create vehicles in this space.
Right.
But now it's not necessarily, there's a lot of companies who have looked on different airframes and styles and capabilities and speed, but now it's not necessarily the investments you're looking for, because there's a lot of companies that have focused there. How has that changed? What are you looking at now?
Well, we're looking for the applications now.
What do you mean by that?
Well, one of our portfolio companies is a company that does esports and drone racing. Mm-hmm. So
that is super.
That's not a global hawk.
Yeah.
That's.
Although I'd love to see that.
Well, it's not.
Although I'd love to see that.
It's not. But that's something that you would have never thought about, even maybe 6-7 years ago.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of applications. It's always been said that drones are good for applications that are dirty and boring and just sort of that thing.
Yeah.
And so we're seeing that kind of stuff develop too. Cleaning buildings and roofs, and I think those are valuable applications.
I saw one of the companies that pitched, not to give them a shout out, but we'll give them a shout out. It was iView, who was in the pitch session. They said something that I thought was so incredibly interesting.
Yeah.
They said, we need to fundamentally start thinking about drones as the helper in our household.
Yeah,
and I was like,
that was great. That was great.
It was so good. It wasn't. The thing I love about it is that you can tell the individual. They were somebody who is passionate. They have built it in their home. They've built the software. They are fully invested into. We can do something different that other people haven't. And honestly, I had never even thought of drones or UAS in that capacity at all. And it was almost hard for me to listen to the rest of the pitch, because in my mind, I was thinking, could this trim my trees? Like, would it be able to trim the trees, and then I don't have to, like, is it that level of possible?
Well, he said it could be your personal assistant.
Yeah. It rocked my world, honestly.
And he was a young entrepreneur, and he was really passionate too about what he was doing.
Yeah.
That was very exciting.
Yeah. That has to be exciting for you to see that from the investor side. Is that what keeps you in this space? Is the cutting edge, the excitement of, hey, there's something new? Yeah,
definitely. Because one of our other portfolio companies does external inspections of buildings, both for energy loss and structural defects that need to be addressed. And they use AI to analyze that. So, that's a new development too, the addition of AI to what's going on with the platforms. It's cool. Very cool.
A whole nother layer being stacked on. And, autonomy was huge for a long time, and it still is. What I mean by that is building the trust that autonomy can be trusted, and it's not going to fail at the most inopportune time where safety would be concerned. But now you layer artificial intelligence onto that, and that is a completely new level and layer. Where is it sometimes when you see companies come in that are offering the ability to integrate capabilities like that, how do you stay up with whether or not it's feasible? What happens when a company comes in, they have an idea where you're like, I don't even know. I don't know if this is a good idea or a bad idea. Like,
we had one of them yesterday at the pitch session.
Oh my gosh. He was.
I finally, I was okay. That's above my pay grade.
Yeah. And not in a negative way. I think I made the comment of saying, I love when I meet people that immediately I know I am way outgunned with the intelligence of what was in that room.
The basic premise was you've got all this data that these drones are capturing, whether it's video or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And streaming it so that it can be analyzed quickly, efficiently, and accurately. That's tough duty.
Yes.
Yeah. So this company had a unique way of doing that.
Yeah.
And
it'll be
interesting.
Was it
air metal? Yeah. It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah.
how that develops, because there's lots of applications.
It will be.
Yeah.
It will be. Just out of curiosity, if you're interested, just to be able to understand some of the companies we're talking about, again, not advocating one over the other, but we'll throw the link in the comment section so you can see iView, Air Metal. And in fact, I'll throw a link to all the companies that pitch so people can go back and kind of look and see what type of companies we're getting in those pitch sessions with UAS Cluster with Angel Network.
Yeah, so we had a wide variety. We had Air Metal, we had iView, which the guy's making his own drones, which is cool.
Yeah.
And then Vigilant Aerospace, which is more of a airspace management system and detect and avoid system. Yeah. And so there's all kinds of opportunities in the industry. Yeah. Just amazing.
There are. So as a parting shot, what are you've been in this space, you've helped it to grow, it has been fun getting to see how many people know you, and everybody's like, "Oh, Delore, how are you doing?" It's like of just somebody who's been such a staple and champion for this space. What are you excited about in the coming years? What excites you about this space?
I'm just excited to see where it's going. Yeah. I mean, it's incredible how it's changed. Yeah. And over the years, the expo has really grown too, and more companies have come to showcase what they're doing. It's nuts. I mean, you got companies doing 3D printing. You got companies that are developing full platforms, sensors. Yeah. I mean, there's never a dull moment. No. I mean, there just isn't.
No, not at all. Make sure you go and look. We'll include a link to that as well. The UAS Summit for next year. Yeah. I'm sure it's going to be next year as well. Has been, as I understand it, every year -1 every year.
Yeah, we did not do one in I believe 2008.
1 year. You know what? We'll give them the benefit. It's a 99% score. That's an A+ in my book.
Yeah.
But make sure that you do put it in your planner to be able to attend next year. Absolutely worth it. And if you are up in this place, not only seeing Grand Sky and what they offer, but you have to come down to the Hive. Maybe find Delore and his team with right here, Red River Corridor Fund, because it's so exciting to be able to see the great work that is happening here. And you get to be in a place in the O'Leary Ventures room.
Yeah, this is a great. The Hive is a great facility. It's just a place where people can get together and have conversations like this. What's new on the horizon, and what are people doing that's cool, and it's just very exciting.
Incredibly exciting. Incredibly exciting. So thank you again, Delore. Thank you so much, sir,
Thanks,
for
Kinsley.
being able to share about the fun, everything taking place, the huge impact that you guys have made here in North Dakota and Grand Forks. And I'm excited to see what comes up, what's coming.
I know you're doing great things in Oklahoma too.
Well, and we're doing great things with the Angel Network.
That's
actually, before we go, would you just share a little bit about that?
Well, you've probably already said what it is, but what we do is we invite people to pitch to a network of angels that are interested in the sector. Yeah. And we usually pick 3 or 4 to pitch every quarter, every 4 months. I don't know. It's kind of irregular sometimes. But boy, I've learned a lot there. Yes. I mean, some of the companies, I would have never thought of doing that.
Yeah. It's been, I find myself humbled every single time we have a meeting about it.
That is the case, no doubt about it. Yeah.
For sure. Well, thank you so much. Truly, truly appreciate it. Make sure you go and visit redrivercorridorfund.com for more information about it. Or you also make sure you look up the Hive and the O'Leary Venture Fund that's here in Grand Forks. If you haven't taken time, take a deep look, because North Dakota has a ton to offer. And again, if you're watching this from somewhere else and you say, why are you concerned about North Dakota? You're in Oklahoma. Well, because when one wins, we all win. And this ecosystem needs partners like us across states, growing the industry overall for everybody.
We can all learn from each other.
We absolutely can. All right, next time, we'll see you right here on Rethink Vertical. Thanks for joining, and we'll see you next time.
Bye now.